Hi guys, the purpose of this video is going to be to review with you what claims are and what they look like. So first off, before I do that, I need to address what the prompt is looking for. So the two things that my prompt is looking for, they're right here. It says that we're going to be analyzing multiple versions of Shakespeare's The Tempest, and we're going to be examining them for meaning and for tone. Okay? Those are the two things that we're focusing on with the standard. Okay? So the meaning and the tone are the focuses of our writing. So if I take out a new sheet of paper, which I want you to do, okay? I want you to take some notes with this video. So on a sheet of paper, first off, I'm going to talk to you about how your writing needs to be structured. And the way we're going to do this is by looking at two separate structures that you can use. And I'm going to make a little outline here. So the first is called text. No, not text. That's my bad. It's going to be point by point. So my question for you, well, first off, let's start here. We know that every essay that we write, and I'm going to do this in an outline because that's the way I think best. Every essay we write is going to have an intro and a conclusion. So let's just assume that's there, right? Intro and conclusion. And yeah, I know you're making a poster, but we know that it's really a trick to get you to write an essay. So the intro, right? The second thing that we're going to have in a point-by-point essay is going to be our first point, which is going to be meaning, right? And I'm going to skip 2 lines. Then I'm going to write down here my third paragraph, which is going to be tone, right? Meaning and tone. Then, after I do that, I'm going to skip 2 more lines. I've got a conclusion. And I'm done, right? Seems pretty straightforward. Now, the way this is going to work is like this. Under meaning, I'm going to have my different texts. So I'm going to put the meaning in the book, and I'm going to put the meaning in the media, right? And when I say book, I mean the play that's in the book, and when I say the media, I mean the clip that's in our book and the pictures that are in our book, right? So that's how we're going to kind of compare these. Now, just to point out here, if you're going to go above and beyond, right? You're going to go for the A. You're going to try to exceed the standard and get into that advanced learning, right? You're going to need to incorporate a third reference here. So maybe you actually find a version of the play that you can watch, right? So you're going to need to do that if you want to get into that B-A range, okay? And the brilliant thing here is that this actually just repeats, okay? For the tone, you go again into the book, you go into the media, and then if you wanted to do that, you just bring it down, right? And this mirrors that structure. This is organized writing. There's no bones about it, right? If I come to you and you have this structure in place, I cannot tell you that your writing is disorganized because you've got it organized. There's no way to argue this, right? Now, that's the point-by-point method, and I want you to try to use that because the next method, the text-by-text method, is dangerous, okay? A lot of people are going to misinterpret these two analyses as being the point, and that's not it, right? The point of this standard is not that you are able to look at 2 different texts, it's that you are able to look at 2 different texts for meaning and for tone, right? So what I want you to do is examine this text by text and think about the pitfall, right? So if I put intro and I go into my second paragraph here and I write the book, and then I go into my third paragraph here and I write the media. What I'm going to end up doing, okay, and this is the same thing that happened with our William Bradford essays, is I'm going to write a summary, right? And summary is not analysis. They're 2 separate things, okay? So I don't want summary. I want analysis. So this structure here is going to be far more conducive to analysis than this structure here. We don't want to use text by text, okay? Now there are times when text by text is very effective, but I don't think that this is the time for it. So I want to really encourage you to use point by point in your writing. Now, let's get into the actual point of this video, which is the claims. I hope that you will appreciate this for what it's supposed to be, but that's not the point of this video, right? The point of this video is how do we write a claim? How do we avoid that summary? And here's the way you do it, okay? You're going to look at it almost like an equation, okay? Topic plus claim equals analysis, right? And that's the way I want you to think of this. So we have topic plus claim. Let me give you some examples of what I'm talking about here. Oh, after topic and claim, you have this beautiful little word down here, which is evidence, okay? To back up what you're saying. And I'm gonna kind of push you to do 3 evidences to the best of your ability, right? So topic, claim, evidence, 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 right? So for example, what this looks like is, for example, going back to last class, William Bradford's background, right? Now, the topic is beautiful. It's wonderful. It's exactly what I want, right? William Bradford's background. That's part of what I have to talk about in my essay, okay? But the problem is you can't stop there, because what happened is a lot of students wrote beautiful paragraphs about William Bradford's background, but they didn't say anything. They just summarized. So you would say, William Bradford's background, and you give me this story, you'd launch right into the evidence, right? Which is not what I want you to do, okay? So we're gonna back up from going into evidence, and we're gonna generate a claim, something that we can argue, right? So the way I want you to think about it is like this. You can't argue William Bradford's background. It's fact, it happened, it's been recorded, right? Well, I take that back. You probably could argue it if you were careful enough, but let's not focus on that right now. You can't make a claim based on William Bradford's background without actually implementing an argumentative stance. So William Bradford's background, let's say, demonstrates or shows his bias, right? Okay, now I'm on to something. I can argue that William Bradford's background demonstrates his bias. So let's see what this looks like, right? My next job is to sub in my evidence. So I can say something to the effect of his Puritanism, right? I could talk about how they believe that God was, they were God's favorite people. I can talk about his exemption from violence. I can talk about the way that he accused. In fact, I could actually just talk about the fact that he called Native Americans savages, right? These things prove that William Bradford's background demonstrates his bias, right? And then this whole thing proves my thesis, which was that William Bradford's writing was either valid or invalid. So that's the way that works. You have your topic, you have your claim, and then you have your evidences, okay? Now, let's extend this to Shakespeare, right? So we have a topic, which is going to be the meaning in the book, right? the meaning in the book, and then we're going to have our claim, right? Because we can't prove the meaning in the book, but we can prove that the meaning in the book focuses on, and then what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to leave this blank, right? Now, I'm going to say right now that the meaning in the book focuses on chaos versus order, right? Because that's something that I've picked up on in my reading, is that it focuses on chaos and order. So now my job is to go into the text and find 3 examples, right, of how the meaning in the book focuses on chaos and order, right? I can do this in several different places. I can compare the Boatswain and Gonzalo. I can compare Prospero and Caliban, right? I can talk all day about this. Now, I don't have to talk about chaos and order. I can talk about love and responsibility. I can talk about just love. I can talk about violence. I can talk about cannibalism, right? I can talk about how any of those things are a focus in the novel. So I'm not going to write that up there, because if I do, everybody's going to copy me, which is lame. But let me show you this. Watch what happens here. The meaning in the book focuses on blank. What if I took the book and I made that a blank too, right? And now I can put in the media, right? The meaning in the media focuses on blank. I can do, again, love and chaos and all that other stuff, right? And then to further that, what if I took meaning out and put a blank in there, right? The tone in the book focuses on, whatever it is that I'm saying the tone focuses on. Then I back it up with 3 pieces of evidence from the text, right? And all of this, okay, all this structure ends up becoming in my paragraph, right? So you can see I can stretch this out to 2-3 sentences easy, right? I can stretch this out to 3-4 sentences easy, right? And that gives me a thorough, comprehensive discussion of my prompt, right? So I don't even have to worry about it. So in conclusion, here's what I want you to do with this information, right? You are going to review the prompt, talk about how you're going to structure your essay so that it makes sense, right? Figure out how you're going to organize your information, what you want to prove about William Bradford's thing. Now you're conducting analysis.